Okay, we will continue with the presentations. First, I would like to present the agenda for today. The first part, I will present briefly, shortly, the AGE-Friendly Toolkit project. And then my colleague Belen will present an introduction round in which everyone can introduce themselves. And later on, we will continue with the presentation of the learning contents and learning outcomes that we have considered for our training curriculum for the new professional profile. And then we will have a debate and a presentation with Ivo Faun and Fran Eve and Oscar Vargas are with us today, and they are relevant experts on employment at European level. So welcome to this workshop. So I'm going to continue with the presentation, and the first is to say that this project is called AGE-Friendly Toolkit, and the entire name is Open Educational Resources for Age-Friendly Cities and Communities. It's an Erasmus Plus project, and it will last 29 months. It started in October 2022, and it will end in February 2025. So we are in the middle of the project. In this phase, we have organized 5 workshops, and you can see them in the pictures. Today is the last one. I'm pleased to present the consortium. It was a multidisciplinary group composed of 6 partners from 5 countries. First is the Spanish Confederation of Older People's Organization, FEOMA. That is the applicant organization and is coordinating the project. The other partners are 2 NGOs in long-term care sectors, Anciani e Non Solo from Italy and Mensajeros de la Paz from Spain. We also have a vocational education and training center in social and healthcare sector in Denmark, SOSU. Consultancy specialized in age-friendly environments, Academy from the Netherlands, and the Age platform that is a well-known network of other people's organizations representing all the countries of Europe. Despite of being located in Belgium, they represent all the interests of other people across Europe, across European countries. So, in order to present the context of the project, I would like to mention 3 key concepts that we will have considered for presenting and developing the project is longevity and demographic transition that brings new challenges and opportunities for the age-friendly society. The other concept is vocational education and training systems, because we considered, partnership considered that new professional profiles and skills are needed, and it's needed to include in these BED systems. To meet the challenge of aging in coming years, we need to consider that it's a cultural change, that it requires needs for professionals and new qualifications to be developed. And also municipalities are a relevant actor for an inclusive society, and in this regard, we consider the global network of age-friendly cities and communities defined by the WHO. The objectives of this project is to open a broad exchange of information among age-friendly stakeholders, age-friendly cities, age-friendly experts, in order to define a training curriculum and a new professional profile. So in this regard, this series of workshops are really important, because we are getting some important contributions that help us to define properly this training curriculum. After this, we will develop a set of learning content and a set of open educational resources that will be freely available on the internet. The phases of the project are two. The first one started in October, and it will end in November. It's aimed to develop a training curriculum for inclusive friendly cities. And the second one, with this curriculum, when we get this curriculum, we will develop a set of educational resources, and we will develop an educational toolkit for the development of AGE-friendly cities. It will start at the end of the year, and it will end February 2025. This part of the project, we are currently working in the second phase of the project. We have identified a set of key competencies on cross-cutting issues for AGE-friendly environments. We are now defining learning outcomes of a new professional figure in AGE-friendly cities, and then we will define a training curriculum that we will validate and disseminate at the end of this phase. So these workshops are located in this second phase, and it's very important to know the opinions and to stay in contact with partners from different countries and different cultures, different backgrounds, to have a good information, proper information about the needs of this professional qualification and skills needs. So this workshop is aimed to discuss the skills, knowledge, and aptitude of professionals to develop and promote thematic areas related to AGE-friendly environments. As I mentioned earlier, we have the reference of the 8 domains of AGE-friendly cities and communities defined by the global network of the WHO. And then after these presentations, my colleague Belén will be pleased to introduce our round, which everyone can introduce themselves.
Yes, thank you, Angel. Thank you. Well, I just need to know who you are, and I think that will be great to know each other. And well, I would like that the participants in this meeting introduce yourself, okay? Telling us their name and maybe a little briefly their organizations. I think that will be good for the meeting and to know each other better. If you don't mind, I will tell you the names that I can see in the image in the in the computer, and then you can talk us about your organization a little brief. And just tell us who you are and well, this introduction yourself. Well, I can see first Rosa Trujillo. Hi, Rosa. We know each other. And Clara, of course, here. Maybe they want to tell us a little briefly what is your paper in the project, and that maybe Rosa can start. No? Okay, Clara.
Hi, hello everyone. So my name is Clara, and me and Rosa, we are both working for Mensajeros de la Paz, and we are also part of the TOOLKIT project. And yeah, well, welcome everyone, and nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Clara. I have here Mr. Abudaya. I don't know if he can present himself. Hi.
Hi, thank you. My name is Abdullah Abudaya, working as associate professor at VID, Specialized University in Norway, here in Oslo. I have a PhD in public health and epidemiology. My organization or my university provide education for nurses and other health professionals. My main focus area in this topic is working with elderly living at home. I mean, home-based nursing. This is why I'm interested in this topic. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I have here a person, Miss Efkoya. Yeah, I'm so sorry because I can't read your name exactly how I don't know how to pronounce it. And excuse me.
Fiola. Fiola.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. I'm Fiola from NGO Suri Visione. I'm a psychologist. We are currently working on AGE+ project, a project about intergenerational interaction together with 2 other NGOs from Serbia and Volkshilfe. This is the first project of its kind in our country, so we are looking forward to hear about your ideas to build age-friendly environments and implement here in our country. So nice to see you all again.
Thank you very much. Andra, can you?
That's probably me, right? So my name is Andrzej Klimczuk. I'm from the Warsaw School of Economics in Poland. And I see some familiar faces. Hi, Agnieszka. So I mostly do research on the public policy on aging, labor markets, and things like that. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Shirley?
Hello, my name is Sirle. Can you hear me? Okay, my name is Sirle Salmistu and I am from Tallinn University of Technology, Estonia. My profession is urban planning and landscape architecture. So I'm working in a professional practice, but mainly I work in the university as a senior lecturer and a researcher. And my research is focused on age-friendly cities and communities, and obviously built environment is my major interest. But of course, civic engagement and everything else is very much related. So it's nice to be back. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kupik, is that the name? Kupik?
Hello, my name is George. I come from Serbia. I work for Tata International Consulting. My background is in medicine and technology, and we are currently implementing the AGE+ project together with our partners from Kosovo.
Okay, thank you. Franz?
Yeah, hi, good morning. I'm Franz from Eurofound with seat in Dublin, Ireland. Eurofound is an EU agency looking into employment policies, labor market issues, working conditions, industrial relations, and social policies. And I will present what we are doing on all the workers later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lucia Silman?
Yes, good morning. My name is Lucia. I'm from the Netherlands and I work for Academy, the Academy for Age-Friendly Environments, and we are also a partner in this consortium. My background is that I'm a social researcher and I'm also currently doing a PhD in the promotion and development of age-friendly environment with the University of Leiden.
Thank you very much. Now I have here Korsamas. I'm sorry, everybody, because I cannot pronounce the name as I don't know you. I can pronounce the name correctly, but I am trying. Okay, sorry for this. Ms. Kormas?
Okay, I'm Nilüfer Korkmaz from Akdeniz University. I'm professor in gerontology department. And I'm teaching environmental gerontology at undergraduate and graduate levels. My background is landscape architecture and urban anthropology and medical anthropology. This is the last workshop, so we know each other. Actually, we say same things and in the workshop. So we know each other now. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Alice, hi.
Good morning, I'm Alice Sinigaglia. I'm project manager at Anziani e Non Solo, which is the Italian partner of this project, working in the field of active and healthy aging and long-term care.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I have here Jordi Romero. I can pronounce it perfectly. Hi.
Thank you, Belen, especially because we collaborate a lot between CEOMA and FATEC. We are in Spain for all the rest of the people. We are a federation of associations of all people based in Barcelona, in Spain. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordi. Agnieszka? Hi.
Hi, everyone. I come from Poland, from Warsaw. I work at the Warsaw University of Technology. I'm a researcher and lecturer, and my background is architecture and urban planning. I focus on the age-friendly design and particularly on the housing and living environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Letitia?
Hello, good morning. My name is Letitia Parmentisch. I'm working for UNIA, the national equality body in Belgium. I'm actually a legal advisor dealing with complaints of people, especially in the working and the labor fields, dealing with ageism or validism. So it's the first workshop I'm doing, so I'm curious to hear about it.
Thank you. Alison?
Hi again, everybody. My name is Alison Bow. I am here in Dublin, Ireland, and I am the head of policy and programs for Active Retirement Ireland, which is Ireland's largest membership organisation for older people. So I work in advocacy and policy for older people, and my professional background is as a health psychologist.
Okay, thank you, Alison. Ilenia?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ilenia Geno. I'm Italian, but I live in Brussels, Belgium, where Age Platform is located. My association is an organization of and for people age 50 plus, and we work mainly at a European level. We are one of the partners of the Age-Friendly Toolkit project, and we will be in charge of the last workshop on the 24th of November, where we will be summarizing all the inputs from the various workshops and input them in the next phases of the project, being the curriculum and the finalization of the trainings.
Thank you. Anna Irina?
Hello, nice to see you. My name is Anna Irina Lecudinca. I am a geographer. I am acting as a lecturer and as a researcher at the Human and Economic Geography Department at Faculty of Geography, University of Bucharest. And I'm mostly interested in issues connected to demography, tourism, but of course to aging, and of course to urban planning of cities and villages connected to an aged population. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
nice to
Anna.
be here.
Thank you. I have here some people, but it's not with the camera. I don't know if they are here or anything else. We'll have the presentation still for Pedro Pomares. I don't know if he is there. Well, we will wait him to come back. Joanna, I don't know if Joanna is here or.
Hello. Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. Today I seem to have a bad internet connection, so I'm not showing the video to be able to hear you. I was already here in other workshops. Also, my partner was here. I am architect and I have an architectural studio, and we are interested in projects for elderly people. We have an initiative project that is in the concept phase with some municipalities in Portugal. And I have just enrolled a PhD program and to do a doctoral study in this theme. So I am very interested in hearing the inputs also from other professionals. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Joanna. Well, I don't tell you who am I. Or very briefly, my name is Belén Sánchez. I work with Ángel in CEOMA, the Spanish Confederation of Older People Organization. I'm with Jordi also, with Rosa, Clara. And well, I just, excuse me again for the pronunciation of your names, kind of difficult for me. But well, I think you could explain perfectly what you were doing here and your names. Well, Ángel, I don't know if you need something else with the presentations. If not, well, Ángel, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Belén. Thank you, everyone, for your kind presentations. We are an interesting group. There is different backgrounds, and I think that this workshop will be really interesting according to your experience and backgrounds. And we will continue by saying that today's workshop, the name is Civic Engagement and Employment. The reason of this workshop is because age-friendly environments allow older adults to continue to contribute to their communities and to be engaged in the political process. Yeah. This is a key issue for our theme, despite of being that people have the right to do nothing and to take advantage of leisure after retirement. So it's important to say that, because we are paying attention on work activities, on being engaged, but many people don't want to do it. So the importance of meaningful activities is very important to consider all this not this workshop. So this workshop are divided in 3 topics. The one is employment and economic life of older adults. The second is unpaid work and volunteering, and the third one is older adults and civic engagement. One of the ideas that WHO shared with us in different documents is that staying active, engaged as a personal choice beyond economic necessity has been shown to have several benefits for physical and mental health and well-being. In addition, staying actively engaged is critical for the future sustainability of social trends in aging society. So this is the ideas that are important when we talk about civic engagement and employment. In this regard, an age-friendly city and community must provide a range of flexible options for older adults to continue to contribute to their communities through paid employment or voluntary work if they so choose, and to be engaged in the political process. In this regard, I like to present the current situation in this issue, related to these issues. I will present only some pluses, and because this is a broad issue, of course, and to talk about this, we need to have more time. But in short, we can say that employment rates in Europe for people aged 55-64 is about 60%. It's a rate. It's important to say that it's the current situation, but 10 years ago, the situation was different. It was minor rate. It's about 43%. So we are in a new situation. This is a new culture. This is a new the demographic transition is evident when we read this evolution of the employment rate in this group of people. Another thing important is that when we talk about employment, we refer older people, we refer to people from 55 over 55. We not consider only people over 65. It's important to take this into account. The special situation for this group of people, we can consider that long-term unemployment is important because the rates, when we look at the statistic, we see that the rates are much higher for older people than for other groups. We also must consider AGE's views and consideration about workers prevail in the labor market. Below, you can see some statistics that notice that people from over 50 years old are important in the labor market. Those are 60%, and people from over 20 are 73%. So it's noticeable that this group of people now is very important. It's a high part of the labor market. Also, the dates, the information about long-term unemployment is important to be considered because the people who leave the labor market have find difficulties to come back and to continue contributing in the inactive employment. So another issues about the current situation is related to voluntary and unpaid activity and unpaid work activities. There is a big differences among countries from 1.2% to 20.6%. So in average, it's around 9% are involved in unpaid voluntary activities. About volunteering, we consider that it's important to talk about women and also higher education attainment levels. We see that it's more prevalent early older age groups volunteering activities. In the end, it's important to remind that older adults are a heterogeneous group and heterogeneous population that requires a variety of responses that ensure their participation in civic life. Okay? In light of the current activity, individuals, local authorities, and social organizations must be aware of the potential of aging society and work together to co-create more and better opportunities for older people, which includes fostering their engagement in political, economic, and public life as well, and enhancing employment, social engagement, and volunteering opportunities for older people. This opinion is shared by international organizations as United Nations, through UNICE, and also WHO, and all the governments, I think, that are participating on this idea. So this is our context. And related to our project, and in order to define the new professional profile that we have called professional of reference for the development of age-friendly cities and communities, we have proposed a set of learning outcomes and a set of training contents linked to this domain, linked to the domain of civic engagement and employment. In order to define the learning outcomes, we take a definition by CEDEFOP that states the following. Learning outcomes are a statement of what an individual should know understand or be able to do at the end of a learning process, which are defined in terms of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. In this regard, in this part of the training curriculum related to civic engagement and employment, we consider that the knowledge, in general terms, obviously, in the knowledge is identify the benefits of staying actively engaged, considering the opportunities in aging societies. About skills, we consider to manage different resources to facilitate civic participation and employment. And related to attitudes, we consider to promote active listening, teamwork, and empathy skills, strengthening the capacity of co-creation between individuals, social organizations, and local authorities. In this regard, we have proposed to focus on 3 units, 3 learning units, and to develop some learning outcomes. For this workshop, we are interested in know your opinion and your comments, suggestions, and proposals related to the learning outcomes I am going to introduce. I am going to present later on. And also, we are also interested in to know your opinion about the learning units that we are presenting, and also to consider that some good practice cases that are active in your countries, because all your opinions and comments will be important in order to define a training curriculum related to this part of the project, related to civic engagement and employment. So now I will start with the Unit 2. I have changed the order because I prefer to talk about employment in the last part of the meeting and share opinions with Franz from Eurofound, because he's an expert and he can contribute more in that part. So I'm going to start by reading our proposals related to Unit 2, unpaid work and volunteering of other people. So related to learning outcomes, we remind that learning outcomes are defining that the concept is referred to at the end of the learning process, the student will be able to we consider to raise awareness on the contributions of older people to society. This professional will be able to promote active, healthy and productive aging, facilitating older people's participation in society. At the end of the learning process, this professional will promote the health and well-being of older adults, empathizing and listening to the interests and needs of each person, and this professional will be able to monitor and evaluate an unpaid and voluntary strategy at local level. Related to the learning contents, we will have defined 5 topics. The first is introduction. In this introduction, we refer to the typology of older adults unpaid work and typology of older adults volunteering. We use materials from Eurofound because they have defined these areas, and also material from other organizations. In this case, they mentioned Eurofound because it's important. The works on this is important. Active aging and social inclusion. We present these topics through the active, healthy, and productive aging, paid work and volunteering, the transition to retirement. Here we mentioned that productive aging is a controversial topic because not everyone agrees with using this term, and transition to retirement is a very important topic also for people over 50, 55, because it is noticeable that if we are trained in early stages of age in this regard, it this facilitate the process of transition to retirement. The third topic is older adults and paid work, related family care. We will talk about informal caregivers here. It's important to age in place. Also, the role of informal caregivers is very, very important to take it into account because, for example, in Spain, 6 million people are taking the role of informal caregivers. Most of them are older people, older adults, but most of them are not recognized in that formal caregiver role. So we will pay attention in this area. About older adults volunteering, we will have divided this topic in different types of volunteers. There are volunteers in public life, economic aspects, inclusive activities, and in all the cases, lifelong learning is important, and we need to consider the opportunities for lifelong learning of older people because it's not, we can do more in this area, and it's important that people continue learning also after retirement. We think that it's important to think in case studies, and we have chosen this practice, this case of good practice from the UK, age-friendly and inclusive volunteering program to tackle isolation and loneliness. This part of the curriculum, we refer to cases in UK because there are many cases that are well described, and this information, I think that in this country, they are working and writing everything. So we have these evidences in a very good way. So in this item, I would like to know your opinion. I would like to receive your comments, and we can use the chat. In this regard, we are happy to listen to your preferences, and opinions of what is the most important topic, or if you consider that there is something else to be said in this topic. So we have a few minutes to discuss this area. So you can raise your hand. Okay, Drake.
Yeah, hello. So basically, thank you for the presentation. I have like 2 comments on what you actually showed to us. Like the first comment regarding the let's say level of employment and unemployment of the people 50 plus and 60 plus. I'm not sure should we actually use such a broad indicators, because if you go into details with the sectoral differences between different branches and different sectors of economy, then you will see that it's not always that bad, basically. So I'm afraid that this kind of toolkit actually should also take into account the differences between different sectors, basically, and between different types of work, because you cannot compare the work of the, let's say, white collars and blue collars and let's say farmers in European Union. Some of the people, you know, if you are 50 plus or 60 plus and you are working as a farmer in the upcoming heat waves during the summer, definitely you don't want to work any longer. Let's be honest. The same in the case of the blue collars. You don't want to work in a factory when you are 50 plus in the heat waves, for example. So it's nothing to compare with the white collars when you are sitting in the office with the air condition, for example. So it's a completely different environment, also a different, let's say, psychological kind of work. So that's the first comment. And the second comment, when you showed us the expected learning outcomes, I was a little bit surprised with but also on this slide with this notion of active, healthy, and productive aging at the same time. So when it is described in that way, it looks like a synonyms or one term at the same time. So basically, these are three different concepts or three policy ideas, which are completely different. And I don't see this slide now, but when you say it about the learning outcomes, I'm afraid, that supporting these three things at the same time is a little bit contradictory, let's say. That's the one thing. And the second thing, it will be nice actually to learn people how to distinguish these concepts, not just learn them to support them, because it's quite important to distinguish what is the difference between the active aging, healthy aging, and productive aging. I'm not even mentioning that there are more concepts than that, like the creative aging, positive aging, or the intergenerational policy, etc. So, it's putting all them to one, let's say, category is a little bit misinformational, let's be honest. Right, that's my comments. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Andrei. Totally agree with your comments, and thank you for that. Thank you about that. For the first, I think that this picture, I mentioned earlier that it is a short, as a summary of the situation. Of course, this is a big numbers. We need to take into account the differences between sectors and the incidence in different groups of age. Obviously, it's not the same to work as a farmer, as in the white collar sector. Yeah, so totally agree, and we will give this information when we develop the material. We will give information disaggregated, and we will pay special attention to the differences, the sectors and the occupations. Of course, we can say. Thank you for your comment, because it's important to mention this, and we will take it into account when develop the materials. Related the second, I think that I totally agree. I put together active, healthy, and productive aging, but I know that it's very different issues. In some way, I think that aging could be a part of active aging. I think it's not well to put together. We need to explain differently, separately, and it will need a chapter for everyone. So this is a summary. Thank you for telling us, give us your comments and suggestions, because we will take it into account, and totally agree with the things that you mentioned. Yeah, and I don't know what expected. Yeah, I think that I answered your question. Yes, Anna.
Thank you. I'll continue a little bit Andrei's idea, actually, and I'll insist more from my point of view, not only on the sectoral differences, but also on the differences regarding the pension system. Pension system, maybe it's more connected to unit 1, but
Yes.
but I know if we are talking for unpaid work for seniors above 60, this is still very important. And I would like to say, of course, there are huge differences between among countries in Europe. Not only if considering the amount received by retired people, of course, that it should be maybe an important package for the seniors above 60. It should take into account the thresholds, which are variable even within the European Union. But then the source of the pension is very important, because there are countries which, like Romania, where this system is very much supported by the state funds, still very much supported, and at least for the generations which are now above 60, and even for the generations who will receive in 10 years pensions, this income will very much depend on this subsidiary, somehow, let's say, uniformized a little bit amount of money, which is of course very low. So first of all, this source should be important, the thresholds. Then of course the equitability of the amount, even in the same country. I would like to say that in Romania there are some anomalies. The fact that there are some privileged categories of seniors, like those retired from the sectors like the army or the police officers, or the judge who voted somehow, let's say, unbearable pensions for the state supported system. And the equitability should be discussed a little bit as well, because when talking about volunteering, we will talk about those who'd like to volunteer, of course, who afford to volunteer. And of course, just commenting now, I know it's connected to the first unit. I'd say that in Romania, unfortunately, the sufficiency of income should be very much discussed, because 90% of the income coming from the pension is going on medicine and on nutrition, on food. Unfortunately, maybe is indirect factor, but connected to the income and to the seniors. Comorbidity should be discussed, and the dependency on the healthcare system. The healthcare system is also very different from one country to another. And in Romania, the coexistence of private and state funded healthcare systems, even for retired people, that should have an insurance, state insurance should be. Then there is another category of retired people who worked in agriculture during communism, who do not have a pension at all, who do not have an insurance at all. And maybe this system, let's say, inequalities should be discussed as well. Sorry for talking too much, but I know that there are very many inequalities between the categories of retired people in the same country, for instance, for Romania. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you. I think that it is really important to talk about pensions, and the end is a matter of the intergenerational solidarity, because as you mentioned, younger generation are paying for the pension of the other people, and this is an issue that it is a responsibility of the whole society. Inequalities are evident, I think, in other countries, and we should discuss about it, and we should reflect it in our materials, in our learning outcomes. Probably this presentation is not really clear, and we don't pay special attention to that, but it's a broad issue. We should talk about this whole issue. Yeah, and differences of the sectors, of the job occupations, and its incidence. The later stage at the labor market is important, also after retirement, of course. So thank you for your contribution, and I take a note, and we will try to reflect it in the final proposal of our training curriculum. Alison.
Hi, just to agree with Anna, but also I was trying to attach a members consultation that Active Retirement Ireland carried out in July of this year. It won't let me attach the document, but I'm very happy to email it to everyone. And it is almost exactly what Anna was discussing. The major findings from our member consultation in Ireland was that 3 out of 5 of the people who responded, the older people who responded, and we had a huge response rate, thousands of people responded. 3 in 5 said that they could not afford on this state pension to, they couldn't afford many levels of civic participation. They could not engage in life easily because of their economic situation. So we have been using that member consultation to lobby for a independent commissioner for older people in the Republic of Ireland. So just, I suppose what Anna is saying there's also in Ireland inequalities between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. And in Northern Ireland, a commissioner for older people already exists and is in place. But within the Republic of Ireland, there's no independent commissioner for older people. So we don't have someone outside of the government body who will advocate for older people. But in Northern Ireland, there is somebody outside of the government to do that. But I'm very happy to share the report if anyone would like it. They can just let me know in the chat and I will email it to them.
Alison, I sent you my email address, and then I will make sure that everyone will get it. I think that's the easiest.
Yeah. Okay. Just there's a lot of responses to all of these topics, which we asked specific questions about. So, just and then it ties into not being able to financially participate or have civic participation.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. I think that it is really important what you say, and we will read it and we will take it into account. And I think that we have learned a lot from your survey, and we will take it into account for developing the training curriculum. Thank you, Alison. So, any other comment? We will see the next item, and then we will see related to Unit 3 about older adults civic engagement. The learning outcomes, I mean that at the end of the learning process, the student is the new professional profile, would be able to answer this question. Why do we need to engage older people in decision-making in an aging society? So many answers are available. The second item is support new models of participation, decision-making, and governance. And the third item is facilitate the participation of older adults in decision-making and civic engagement at the local level. And the fourth is monitor and evaluate an unpaid and volunteering strategy at the local level. Related to the learning content, we divide this unit in 4 topics. The first is the introduction, institutional context, human rights approach, participation, independence, self-fulfilling, dignity, and care. It's important to take into account. The second, of the adults civic engagement in age-friendly cities, civic engagement and intergenerational solidarity. case study, we took a case of the UK that is called Older and Greener, and that older people organize themselves to climb the rise to have a more healthy environment, to claim for the right to have more nature in your neighborhood and the neighborhoods, etc. It's a case that we would propose to deliver to explain this item. The third is instruments to facilitate civic engagement of older adults. It's based on a bottom-up approach. It's linked to the methodology that is used by WHO, based on focus group and bottom-up approach. The normal methodology in age-friendly cities, in the network, the global network of age-friendly cities. Also, we mentioned new technologies and better community engagement. Yeah, this is another case of practice that I would like to share with the students. And the fourth topic is another case study. In this case, we refer to another project, the conclusions of the Innovate project, that propose guidelines for co-producing age-friendly environments. It refers to meaningful involvement of person-centered approach, and these different phases to work on creating this culture of co-producing age-friendly environments. So these topics are the one that we have proposed firstly. Then after this workshop, we will change some things, and we will take into account the inputs that you are providing, of course. And now it's important also to take into account your opinion. You have something to say related to this area. We'll be happy to hear from your comments and suggestions. Then most of them. Okay, we will go to the unit 1, that it's probably the most interesting, and you referred earlier to different questions related to employment and economic life of older adults. In this unit, our learning outcomes, considering that it is the things that at the end of the learning process the students will be able to do, we consider identify the situation of the aging workforce, support strategic partnerships composed by entrepreneur associations, trade unions, and other organizations, facilitate accessible workplaces considering different capacities of aging workforce, identify alternatives for those who is working longer after retirement. For example, entrepreneurship opportunities, and also to talk about silver economy opportunities. And the last one is monitor and evaluate employment strategies at local level. Related to the topics that we are proposing for this item, we would like to present this one with 6 topics. The first one is introduction, institutional contents. We refer to the European employment strategy and also to the social pillars, and also other documents that are important for the countries in the European Union. And also we mention some cases in national countries that are participating in this project. The second item is aging workforce, economic life, and employment. In this case, we talk about employment, self-employment, employment, referred to long-term unemployment, and the problems and difficulties in returning to work. In this case, we try to discriminate according to the different sectors in the economy and in the industries, of course. The third topic is friendly and inclusive labor market. We will talk about the ageism in this topic, and we will try to talk in a positive sense and positive direction. And we will talk about the promotion of international workforce at companies and their importance. We are always, we would like to mention some cases of good practice, etc. About the topic, the fourth topic is age-friendly and inclusive workplaces. We will talk about sustainable work and improvement and flexible work arrangements in order that people feel safe and feel good at the workplace, because we are taking into account the biological aging, not chronological aging, but biological aging, implies some convenience for many people, and we need to take it into account when we talk about aging workforce. The fifth topic is extending working life, and we will talk about active retirement, entrepreneurship opportunities, other topics related to this. Also, the silver economy as an opportunity for new entrepreneurship. We have chosen this case study, age-friendly employer, creating a more inclusive workforce. It's based on the experience of the Center for Aging Better. This is a website, and it's an organization in the UK that it provides a lot of examples and good practices related to creating age-friendly environments, and we consider it. But we also consider other good practices from other countries, and this workshop is aimed to get new experiences, new cases of good practices in adapting the environments to the needs of other people in the labor market. So this is it, and now I would like to give the floor to Franz from Eurofound. He's an expert, and he is involved in important surveys, important research about aging workforce and other topics related. So,
yeah.
Franz, hello. Thank you for joining us this event, and I would like that you comment on our proposal, and also related to the questions that other participants commented in a few minutes ago.
Yeah, that's fine. I also prepared a couple of slides. I don't know if I can share them later.
Okay.
Maybe a first reaction. I think, I mean, all the learning outcomes you have been showing are very relevant and important, and are basically aligned with our research as well. One important aspect, I think, which should maybe be made more explicit, and which refers to what people said earlier, is the question of transitions. So as we heard before, there are huge differences across sectors as regards employment participation of older workers, and in some sectors like agriculture, and in very strenuous branches like industry, construction, etc. It is difficult sometimes for people to transition to less strenuous jobs. And this needs to be facilitated. So we have some country examples where they try to kind of facilitate transitions on company level or between employers and so on. And that's an extremely important aspect in order to increase labor market participation of specific groups of workers who are doing more manual jobs or more strenuous jobs and who cannot possibly do these jobs for a long while because they are as such not sustainable because of the physical working conditions they are facing. I think that would be a very important aspect to highlight. And then I think I share my slides. I show you some of the research we are doing, and I think it aligns nicely with what you are with what you have presented. Let me see if I managed to share.
Yeah, you are able to share.
So. Okay. So can you see the presentation?
Not really well. It's not
Yes.
the entire presentation.
Not in full screen.
The
Full
full
screen.
screen, yeah.
So full screen.
Yeah.
Now it works or no?
Yeah, it works. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, so like the project we are carrying out is based on that sustainable work definition we have been using, and it kind of acknowledges that extending working lives or sustainable work is something beyond discussions around retirement age. So of course, in order to, as I just said with the transitions, in order to make work sustainable, the basic working conditions need to be such that people can engage and remain in work throughout a longer working life, and that's the basis of the concept we are looking at. And throughout our project now, we try to explore a little bit the challenges in relation to maintaining the older workforce in the labor market and to assess the role of working conditions in that regard. And secondly, to understand the relationship between working conditions and labor market participation. And the third part is also the mapping. And I think that's an important aspect in regard to your project of policies, including company practices and targeted at improving conditions for the older workforce, but also for younger work groups, because of course it must be a life course perspective we have to focus on. What we have been doing so far is we did an extensive literature review. We have a network of correspondence. So basically in each member state of the European Union and also in Norway, we have a correspondent, and we send questionnaires to them regarding specific topics, and in that regard, regarding keeping the older workforce in the labor market. And we are collecting, basically, I show you in a second what is covered there. We have also an expert workshop. Angel will participate in that in October. And then we're doing data analysis and country expert interviews on selected topics. The output will be a report in early 25. So for your information. What did we look for in the questionnaire to our national correspondents? First, kind of macro factors regarding the retention of all the workers. What are the typical pull push factors in the countries? Is there any sector-specific information? I can already say that this was a difficult topic, so there is very few evidence on national level, at least, as regards sector-specific information on all the workforce participation. So you have some scattered studies on subsectors or something, but there is no coherent information on the sectoral level. Policies and practices to retain the older workforce and also return to work schemes, especially after long-term sick leave. Then more specifically the sustainability of work in terms of skills and employability. There we were collecting local, regional, and national initiatives to improve employability, and also looking for newer developments, and also as regards digital skills, what were developments in digital skills for the older work groups, what are initiatives to enhance digital skills and to improve digital literacy of the older workforce. And social partner collective agreements. This is just to show what you also mentioned before, Angel, about the employment rate development on the EU 27 level. So here we see the age group 20 to 64, and we had a slight increase since 2010. But if we look at the employment rate for the 55 to 64 plus, they are kind of catching up with the overall employment rate. And so a lot has happened, so to say, in the last decade and also before as regards the participation of all the people in the labor market. Of course, there are still huge differences across the genders, but for the female group, we can say that the catching up process as regards employment rates has been even more speedy than for the male population. Of course, huge country differences. So we can see employment rates between 83% in Iceland and 47% in Romania for the 55 to 64. And we can see that, of course, the Nordic countries are famously good in involving or engaging the older workforce in the labor market, so we can learn from their practices. And also in some, like also in Germany, we have a higher rate. But Portugal, for instance, is also an outlier in this regard, as regards to the southern and southern central states. This here is based on Eurofound's Working Conditions Telephone Survey, which was carried out in 2021, and based on several items of job quality across various dimensions, we computed a job quality strain index, which is referring to an OECD concept of job quality. And it's a degree index. So in red, basically, you see the strainiest jobs. And in blue, light blue to dark blue, you see the more resource jobs. If we look across the age groups, of course, you see that in the 56 plus group, there are fewer strenuous jobs and there is a more resource jobs. But of course, these results have to be interpreted with care because, of course, the jobs in the very strenuous jobs, people just exit the labor market, or people with sickness or chronic diseases, they would also be much more likely, of course, as you all know, to leave the labor market. So what we observe in the working conditions survey is basically in the older age group, a better overall job quality, but of course it's also fewer people and that there is a selection effect here in as regards those who stay in the labor market. And here are a couple of health and well-being related indicators. So this is a measure between 0, very poor well-being, to 100, very high well-being. And here we can see also the same as we saw in the job quality, that for the older age groups we have higher average levels of well-being for those who remain in the labor market. And we also have higher values of engagement, which basically indicates that if people stay in the labor market, they do so because they have maybe favorable working conditions and they are also more engaged in their jobs in terms of work engagement. As regards chronic illness, of course, there is an increase across the age groups, unsurprisingly, but it's also not as big as if we probably look at the overall population. So also here we can see that for the 56 plus, probably this is below the overall proportion of chronic illness in that age group. And then physical and emotional exhaustion, we see basically same, or we see basically a flat line here, so no big differences across the age groups. I will be very brief on this, but we did a literature review on the push and pull factors, and those are obviously all factors we know very well. What are factors that kind of boost participation in the labor market, or barriers to participation in the labor market, and what are kind of factors regarding the retirement decisions. Of course, gender is a big factor here. Due to the more discontinuous career histories of women compared to men, they also have disadvantages as regards, let's say, retirement and pension entitlements, but also income levels. So this is an important factor here. And gender also influences post-retirement financial status, of course. Household composition plays a role. For instance, we see that female workers align their retirement decision more to the male household heads, for instance, than the other way around. So a woman is more likely to retire earlier if her partner also retires at a certain point in time. And we have to think about the implications here. And health, of course, is a big factor. People with poorer health are much more likely to exit the labor market, and this has to be explored in more detail what can be done in this regard. And then, of course, things that were already mentioned: income levels, skill levels, and age discrimination. So here, for instance, studies show as regards age discrimination that employers tend to view older workers as a weak return on investment on the one hand, but on the other hand, they are also a valuable long-term investment, because of course you have, if you keep people, let's say, in their jobs in a company, then they of course a valuable asset, if you allow me to use that expression here, because they have accumulated knowledge of the organization, they have accumulated content knowledge, etc. So they are very valuable for the organization. But it is different as regards a recruitment decision of all the workers, where it is seen as a more costly human resource, for instance, and then an employer would be more likely to recruit a younger person for a specific job. Yeah, retention and return to work schemes are discussed, of course, on EU and national levels. EU level policies have focused in the last decades very much on the increasing retirement ages, but other initiatives and aging strategies, employment strategies, etc., also acknowledge more and more the multifactorial aspect of longer working lives, which is, I think, the central topic if we want to keep the older workforce working. It is not only about statutory retirement ages, of course. We can increase them, but this doesn't mean that people really stay for extended periods in the labor market. Company practices and HR practices are, of course, other important levels to consider. And then just some insight on what we collected from the member states as regards sustainable work policies, initiatives, schemes, etc. across the member states. We were looking into employability and skills, and we found several schemes. Of course, the biggest number were qualification support schemes addressed to different groups. So we had, for instance, qualification support schemes, especially addressing older workers, for instance, in Belgium, Bulgaria, and Poland. Then workers of all ages in Greece, France, Sweden, Slovakia. Then, of course, qualification support regarding the older population in general and also the general adult population. And finally, qualification support addressing the low-skilled or unemployed, as in Austria, Bulgaria, Denmark, Croatia, Ireland, or Slovakia. The next topic is the reintegration of all the long-term unemployed. And here we find, for instance, schemes of subsidized employment, Austria, Bulgaria, Finland, France. Then wage subsidies to employees who take up jobs, such as in Austria. So they take up, let's say, low-paid jobs and they get additional wage subsidies for a period of time. There are also a couple of ESF-funded projects where they try to kind of experiment on the workplace levels, what can be done to reintegrate all the long-term unemployed. And there are also upskilling programs in Denmark or public employment schemes in Hungary, where with long-term unemployed older workers get public jobs offered, with the objective to reintegrate them in the more competitive market later on. And then we see incentives and fundings, for instance, for training and education subsidies for employers who offer these trainings to their older workforce. Also workplace promotion of reaching retirement ages in the Netherlands. In Portugal, there are, and probably also in a couple of other countries, incentives to accept job offers for long-term unemployed, and also workplace experiments in the Netherlands that are supported with public, local, regional, or national monies. And finally, as I said in the beginning, facilitating transitions is an upcoming topic as well. Transitions towards retirement, of course, is an important topic. So to take that topic seriously on the workplace level can be a booster to keep all the workers in their jobs for longer periods, with sliding retirement or specific preparation for retirement, part-time work, part-time retirement, etc. There are all kinds of schemes. And it is important to take that seriously especially for the employers, because it is, of course, for each individual worker a very important topic. Then transitions in the course of dismissal or restructuring is another important topic. So especially as regards the transition to low carbon economies, where we see that sectors are reducing the workforces, and here it needs obviously public support to transition to either different employers or actually different sectors. There is a program in Finland which focuses especially on dissolution of contracts between an employer and an employee, and how to facilitate the transitioning to a new job in a new sector, in a similar sector, for the regarded worker. And then the transitions to less strenuous jobs are another important topic. Schemes, for instance, were reported from France. What we will further do in the specific project here is look into the retention policies and practices, and also look at the correlation between macro level and micro level information. So we have the employment levels, of course, but also expenses as regards active labor market policies, subsidies, etc., and to see how this is related to job quality, engagement, well-being at the individual level. Then we'd like to identify the best practices and to develop country profiles and policy recommendations later on. So that's what we're doing at the moment at Eurofound. Oscar, my colleague, Oscar Vargas, is also involved in the project, who's here in the workshop, so he might want to add some points here. But I think it aligns nicely with your initiative here, and yeah.
Thank you very much.
If I may, Angel?
Yes, yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you, Angel, for the invitation.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you on the screen. Well, just I think Franz explained very well some of our findings and of course the project he's managing. I just wanted to make a remark about some of the issues he has presented, and it is that there are different strategies, to try to keep all the workers in the labor market. Franz mentioned, you can increase the statutory age. He also mentioned the, these transitions towards less manual jobs or more jobs more friendly for older workers. But I think also what there is evidence it is that good working conditions contribute to prolonged working life. And we saw in the slides, the higher percentage of workers with better job quality, highly resourced jobs in the older worker group, which means they only remain if they have good working conditions. So this is something, from Eurofound, which is the European Foundation for the Improvement of Living and Working Conditions, one of a big remarks that we can do. And certainly, as Franz mentioned, he will continue researching this part with a multi-level analysis. And that's all. And thank you very much for inviting us here.
Thank you. Thank you for your contributions, Oscar. I know that you are an expert also in remote work, digital work, telework, and I think that it is especially an important part for some jobs, occupations. Other people are able to continue working after retirement, or also in the latest part of their labor occupation. They are able to use these digital resources to continue working from home. Can you say something about this?
Well, we found that on this regard that there is, when you look at workers working remotely, there is a relative high share of those which are, older than 50 years old, for example. And it is clear that there is an association between remote work and health status. We see that, some people cannot go to work because of some health conditions, but if they are able to telework, they are very likely to continue working also. Yes, this is certainly an important issue, and of course, in the long term, the digitalization will make jobs to be, more friendly for older workers, because of course we see that in the labor market having less and less manual jobs, because we use more digital tools and less manual work. And this, in the long term, I think will also facilitate participation of other workers in the labor market.
Thank you so much. Okay, anyone else? Anyone has a question about issues? Franz gave us a lot of good practices to take into account for our training curriculum. And we will try to review some of them because they are examples of good practice cases from all the topics that we are trying to include in our training curriculum. So we will appreciate if you can share this presentation with the group, because we will find resources. I think that most of the good practices are not available in English and are in national languages, so it would be some hard to try to develop in national languages.
Yeah, maybe just to say that we are preparing a working paper based on these practices, which we received from our correspondents. And there will be links to all these initiatives, but there are, of course, summaries of these initiatives in English. And yeah, of course, with Google Translated, it's easy to go to these web pages and see what they contain of. But the working paper should be available by the end of this year already. So also happy once it is finalized to share that with the group or whoever is interested in it.
Frans, if it's the easiest, then you can also just send the slides to me, because we have all the contacts for the people who are in the workshop, and then we can share them.
Okay, I will do that. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, thank you. Yes, if there is any other question to Fran, to Oscar, or okay, so if there is no more questions, we can continue with the workshop, and just to say goodbye because we reached the end of the workshop. This is our last workshop of this series. We have 5 workshops related to different issues, and we are pleased to finalize this process. And then, Ilenia, we will host the next meeting, Brussels, and in that occasion, we will present the results of we are getting in this workshop. So we will present the final document, the final proposal for a training curriculum, and we will discuss again with all experts that consider participating in this event. So, Ilenia, would you like to say something, to add something?
Thank you, Angel. No, I just wanted to tell anyone that hope that they won't mind to receive an invitation from our side again for the final workshop on November 24th. So to catch up with the work that we have been doing through these workshops, and then to pave the way for what's next for our project, of course.
Thank you very much, Ilenia, for your invitation and for hosting the next event. And that's it. Thank you for joining us. It's a big pleasure for us to host these meetings, and then we will share the results of these events. We are preparing a short report about all your contributions during this process, and we will share it in the next few weeks. And that's it. Yeah. There is something that we would like to share with you, is because the WHO are preparing also some workshop in which they are preparing something similar like we are doing, but it's more dedicated in the methodological aspects of the age-friendly cities and communities, and you will be able to participate in these 4 workshops that they will host in the next month. And I think that Ilenia can share the address of this eco-friendly or something like that. It's the WHO workshop that are starting on the next month.
Exactly.
Yes.
I will share it in the chat so everyone can have the link directly.
Yeah, this is a complementary. We think that it's a complementary training action to our purpose, and we will take also into account. We will participate also in these meetings, and we will take the references to include it in our training proposal, of course.
Okay. Hope it works as a link. No, it doesn't keep them. The hyperlink, I will open it again. And copy just the hyperlink. So you have you will find more information about this also in this website of the UN Decade for healthy aging. And this training has been issued by a mentorship program supported by the World Health Organization. And you will see there are 5 different sessions starting from October the 19th, if I'm not wrong. No, October the 4th, sorry. So you have the schedule from October the 4th until the 29th of November. Just be careful about the time frame, because most of them I see are not in Central European time. So just watch out about the right timing for us.
Yeah. Good advice. Because I saw it and I made a mistake when I rolled it. Okay. Okay, thank you once again for joining us and for your contributions and your kind participation in the workshops. See you soon in the next final workshop that we will broadcast from Brussels, from the AGE platform headquarters. So thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Hello.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Okay. You can stop recording.
Oh, yes, I will.